welcome to Monday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, and a puzzle that so many of you have recommended over these past few days. Despite the fact, and despite appearances, this is not a Sudoku. So it's getting loads of recommendations, but the rules definitely, I think at least, allow for repeated digits in rows and columns, and the puzzle is called Intersections, and it is by the great IcyFruit, this new constructor. I think I've done 3 or 4 puzzles by IcyFruit so far, and every one of them has been a masterpiece, and every one of them actually has been incredibly difficult, as well as being just fantastic logically. This one has 4 stars out of 5 on Logic Masters Germany, and of course a perfect 100% rating. In fact, let's have a quick look at the comments. Hopefully you'll be able to see some of these. That is ridiculous from Naughty. That is ridiculous. Fantastic, made my day. I have no idea how you come up with such a crazy and wonderful idea. Agent, great idea and excellent puzzle. What a funny puzzle. Hi Simon, Silver Scree. What's that mean? But a Silver Scree obviously was expecting me to do this puzzle at some point. Playmaker, this is one of the best puzzle clickbaits I've ever seen. Fistamafel, goodness me. So Fistamafel is probably not commenting on his own puzzle. I know some of you used to think that IcyFruit was a pseudonym, a second pseudonym for the great Fistamafel. I don't think that's true, although I don't know who IcyFruit is. Codec, haha, this is bonkers. Yeah, so this is absolutely great. Now, hang on, let's click back through my tabs. I might as well read you the rules, actually. Why don't we read they're very short. The rules are: place a digit in each cell, such that in any row, column, or 3x3 box, if a digit is present, it appears exactly its own number of times in that row, column, 3x3 box, and digits may not repeat within a cage. So I think that means if you put a 6 into this cell, now this row, I think, has to have 6 6s in it, and this column has to have 6 6s in it, and this box has to have 6 6s in it, which definitely breaks the normal Sudoku rules that we tend to see on the channel. Anyway, those are the rules. That's it. That's it. So IcyFruit's obviously come up with another banger here, and we'll have a look at, well, I'll try and solve it for you in a moment or two's time. But what can I tell you about before that? I've got a few things to mention today. I'll start by mentioning another very difficult puzzle that I have tried, just to say thank you to our patrons over on Patreon. It is this puzzle, Jesper Josephson's Circle Sum. It is also a masterpiece, and actually it has some similarities with the IcyFruit rule set that we just read, because in this puzzle, if you put a digit in a question mark, that digit needs to appear that many times in the question marks, and that leads to some bonkers stuff in this grid. But it's a fantastic puzzle. It just took me a very long time to solve, so that's a 2-hour video for those of you who enjoy such things, and that's over there on Patreon right now. What else can I do? Oh yes, I wanted to give a shout out again to Bobble Bardsley, who is making a habit of a rather wonderful thing. Bobble Bardsley takes puzzles and rewrites the rules of those puzzles in verse, and just does the most brilliant job. So this is yesterday's puzzle, another fantastic and difficult puzzle, Codex Mount Elbrus, and Bobble Bardsley rewrote the rules to this puzzle, which are basically normal Sudoku, killer Sudoku, and doublers, as follows. To fill the grid, avoiding any shocks, in every row, each column, and each box, insert the digits 1 to 9 once each, the rules that all Sudoku teachers teach. The contents of each killer cage are driven by adding up the cells to each clue given, and as you solve this mathematic feat, ensure each cage's digits don't repeat. Now comes the twist. Dispersed throughout the grid, 9 doublers in the boxes are so hid. Just 1 per box, per column and per line, and each a different digit, 1 to 9. When calculating killer cage's sums, each doubler twice its value so becomes. Let these rules guide you to the grid you seek, as you ascend Mount Elbrus to its peak. It's just, what a writer. Bobble Bardsley, take a bow. That is another absolutely stellar piece of Sudoku verse. So thank you for that. It amused me and impressed me in equal measure. Now, what else? Oh, well, in fact, speaking of verse, this is a good segue. We shall move to John, who is a friend of the channel from over the pond and was recently travelling in Virginia and happened to go to the University of Virginia, which Edgar Allan Poe apparently attended for a term, which is something I certainly didn't know. And John was kind enough to take a couple of really cool photos. So this is the University of Virginia, which I didn't know. What a beautiful building that is. Apparently it's called the Rotunda. There's our greatest hits, volumes 1 and 2 in the foreground as well, improving the picture slightly. And then there is this picture. And this is apparently the dorm room that Edgar Allan Poe stayed in when at the University of Virginia. So you can see there's a raven there, although not a pallid bust of Pallas to be seen. Oh, no, there is. There is a pallid bust of Pallas, but it's not where it should be. It should be above the chamber door, not on the floor. So it's almost a thematically perfect room. And John, thank you very much for sending us those photos. I was very pleased to get them. Any other news? Yes, actually a quick shout out to Damien over in New Zealand. Thank you for your email, Damien. It was much appreciated. Then Hexcells. Well, Mark and I were debating when we should stream Hexcells next. We have been doing Wednesday nights, but Wednesday is Valentine's night. So Mark and I assumed that most of our viewers would be out celebrating Valentine's night. Or at least, if not with a partner, with a puzzle to take the partner's place. So we figured it might be better to do tomorrow night instead. So Tuesday night, tomorrow night, 10 o'clock UK time. We'd love to have your company. We are going to be trying this one, Hexcells Infinite. I don't know what that means. I presume it means it goes on forever. Let's hope that the solving doesn't go on forever. And apart from that, 2 birthdays to do today. So we'll start with Vash, who's turned 25. And I know this because your girlfriend, Emily, wrote to us, Vash. She told us that you're a keen puzzler and chess player. And I think the two of you have been together for 2.5 years. And Vash, I hope you have an absolutely brilliant day today with chocolate cake, with a suitable ratio, obviously, of icing to cake. And then over in Argentina, we have a little viewer, Sol. Sol's turned 1. And I know this because your mother, I think it's Diana, I hope I'm saying that correctly, wrote to us and said that Sol has been listening to Cracking the Cryptic videos since before she was born. Well, apparently Diana has made chocolate cake, cheesecake, lemon pie, brownies and muffins, all homemade, to celebrate birthday today. I'm not sure how much of that Sol will be able to have, but it sounds, Sol, like you're going to have an absolutely brilliant day today. Many happy returns, and I hope that as you grow up, you continue to watch and listen to these videos. Wouldn't that be great? And that's, I think, everything I had to tell you. So we've sort of done the rules of this puzzle already, haven't we? So we don't have to do those again. Let us turn our attention, or let me turn my attention. I want to adjust my glasses and have a go at this puzzle, Intersections by IcyFruit. Do have a go yourselves. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now I get to play. Let's get cracking. Right, I'm going to just... I said let's get cracking. I was like, do I really know the rules? I think I do know the rules. I do know the rules, right. So there's got to be some way of figuring this out. Now, the first thing that does occur to me is that it's very nearly possible to fill this grid entirely with 9s. I think it's only the existence of the cages that prevents... Oh, how do I do... Can I highlight that? Oh, maybe if I do the Control A thing. I can. All right. That is very nearly a solution to this puzzle, I think. Because if you put a 9 in the puzzle anywhere, it propagates, doesn't it? It sort of infects the whole grid. Because if you put a 9 here, it says, right, now I've got to put 9 nines in this row, 9 nines in this column, 9 nines in this box, and the moment you do that, you have to get 9s everywhere else. So if you put a 9 here, it sort of infests, Zerg-like, the rest of the grid. And that's fine. It meets the rules, except it doesn't meet the last sentence of the rules, which says that digits may not repeat within a cage. So obviously if you put 9 anywhere, 9 goes everywhere. It's like Japanese knotweed. And that means you would get repeated 9s in all these cages. And that's not going to obey the rules. So I think this puzzle is 9-less. That is what I'm going to claim. Oh! Yes, okay. I had a moment of panic there. Well, I realised that the rules don't mention the digits 1 to 9. And I suddenly thought, oh, could we be putting weird digits in this puzzle? But no. No, if you put 10 in this puzzle, 10 I suppose is not technically a digit, it's 2 digits. But also, you can't then put 10 tens in a 9 by 9 grid. So that doesn't work. You can't put 0 in, can you? No. If you put 0 in, you're not meant to put 0 in, because 0 is only meant to appear its own number of times in the row. And 0 has not appeared 0 times if it has appeared. So you can get into some quite interesting thoughts here. Yeah, these are thoughts I find interesting. This is why I've never been popular at parties. Okay. So I think we are dealing with the numbers well. We're dealing with the numbers 1 to 8 because we don't think that 9 can go in. But surely 8 is going to go everywhere as well. It's sort of, it may not be an infester, but it's an infector. It's going to go all over the place. If you put 8 in the grid, well then there are going to be 8 8s in this row. There are going to be 8 8s in this column. There are going to be 8 8s in this box. There's going to be 1s, aren't there? Surely the whole grid, and it might be wrong about this, but I feel like the whole grid, if you put an 8 anywhere in the puzzle, won't the whole grid just be filled with the whole grid I think will be filled with 8s and 1s, and that won't work because we're meant to not have repeated digits in cages, and we would. So let's just, is that definitely right? If I put an 8 here, what are we actually saying? Well, yes, okay. Yes, it's clear actually. In fact, it's worryingly clear in a way that makes me think no digit's going to work. Not sure. No, we might be okay once we get to smaller digits, but I don't actually see how 7 is going to work either. If you put 8. So here's what I was thinking. If you put 8 anywhere in the grid, but let's say we put it here, that's saying put 8 8s in this row. But could any of those cells not be 8? And the answer is no, of course not, because there's only one cell in this row that is not 8. So there's definitely some 8s in here now. Let's plonk an 8 in. There's definitely some 8s in these 3 cells. Let's plonk an 8 in. Doesn't matter where it goes, because the moment you put 8 in either of these 2 boxes, now I've got to put 8 8s in this box. I've got to put 8 8s in this box. And then I'm going to have to put an 8 in this column, aren't I? That means, so let's put an 8 in. And that means there must be an 8 in this string, and there must be an 8 in this string. And those 8s are going to force 8s into, some cells in each box, which means every box of the Sudoku has an 8 in, which means that the total panoply of digits in this puzzle will be 9 boxes, and in each box you will have 8 8s. So there are 72 8s in the puzzle, and the other digits will all be a 1 in each box, each row and each column, and that will give us the 81 digits in the puzzle. But that definitely means I must have a repeated digit in that cage and that cage. See, that's interesting. So I wonder if this cage and this cage weren't here, maybe you could get close to having 8 and 1 as a valid solution to this puzzle. That's a very surprising thought. Now, my thought when I put 8 in and I started to think about propagation was that 7 definitely couldn't work. And I think 6 is going to have a devil's own job to work as well. But let's try 7. And again, I think it's the same logic, isn't it? If I put 7 anywhere in this box, as an example, the logic's going to be the same, wherever you start with 7. Is it possible you don't have at least one 7 in those 3 squares? Of course it's not possible. I could stack 7s into the rest of the row, but I'm going to have to put at least one 7 in there. So this box gets infected. This box must be infected, and the moment you infect a box, you have to fill it with 7s. So there's going to be 7s all round the grid. 7s are only going to be able to go with 2s, because 7... Well, you can't split the extra 2 cells up in this box into any other combination. So you're going to have 7s and 2s throughout the grid. So that doesn't work. Definitely not. Now 6s, if you put a 6 here, does that work? I feel like that 6 is going to be... Well, it may not be a broodlord. Sorry, an infestor, but it's probably a broodlord. And either way, it should be removed from the game. If you put 6 there, so how's that work? So there's going to be 6 6s in this box. And then you're going to have to fill the other 3 cells. The thing is, the other 3 cells are less clear, aren't they? So if you put 6s like that, these 3 squares... They could be 3 3s, but they needn't be 3 3s because they could be 2 2s and a 1. So there is more flexibility with 6s. But perhaps the point is that you don't have... The 6 doesn't infect both... You know, if you had... Actually, it is quite tricky, this. It's suddenly got a bit more chewy, I think. If you would... How do we articulate what's going on here? If you have... See, if you just had 2 6s or 1 6 in a row. So let's look at the top row. If there's 1 6 here and no 6s in these 2 squares, then you do definitely have to have a 6 in those squares, and you do at least 1, and you do have to have at least 1 6 in these squares. So you would get infection. But I think that's the same if you have 2 6s, isn't it? If you have 2 6s, then again, I could stack that with 6s, but I still would have to have a 6 here. So I would get infection. But what if I have that? If I have that, then I can avoid infecting both of these boxes with 6s by stacking them with 6s like that. And now, these squares don't have to be 6 because I've already got 6 6s in the row. So this box doesn't get infected. Unless... Although again, you'd have to be careful. You probably have to have 2 lines of 6s, because again, if you just had one, if you did that, again, that's going to force a 6 into one of these 3 squares, and that's going to infect this box again. So to not infect the box, you have to do something like that, and then that. So you'd have to pack the 6s. Right, but that also is... That's not going to work either, is it? I think the problem there are these 3 squares, bizarrely. And the reason I say that is that how do I fill these 3 cells now? These 3 cells have to be either the 1-2 pair thing or 3 3s, don't they? Oh, no, that is not an earned 3 in the corner. That definitely doesn't get a song. And these would have the same property. That's interesting. So let's avoid getting a 3 in the corner. So you could fill these like this, but effectively what we're saying is that these 6 digits here are 1, 2, they're either a strip of 3 or a 2-1 pair. And and 1 plus 2 plus 3 add up to 6. So these digits would have to be that. But now these 3 digits, what on earth are they? And the way I was seeing that before was I was putting 1, 2, 3 there. I don't think these can be anything. Because in this row, well, let's look at the box. In this box, these have to be at least 4, don't they? And once they're 4, from a box perspective, I've got to put 4 of them in the box, but I can't because I needed 1, 2, and 3 to make the rows work. Good grief. Right. Okay, well, this is good. This is good because I think what we are proving, we now know what this is. Because let's just go through this once more to check that it is correct. What we're saying is, if we put... We've worked out you can't put 7, 8 or 9 in the puzzle. If we put 6 in, it actually only just doesn't work as well. Because if we do put... Imagine we did have... I didn't think of this before. I was sort of assuming it would break, but it actually only just breaks. If you did have 6 in every box, then every box is made up of 6s, 1s, 2s or 3s. And that's 4 different digits. And that almost would work. It would work for that cage, but it wouldn't work for that cage. So it's only this cage needing 5 different digits that stops 6 working. But the reason I don't think 6 works, just to go through it again, is that the only way to stop the 6 going everywhere, and 6 will go, if there's a single 6 in a row, it will infect the boxes it shares a row with, so it'll affect this box, infect this, and it'll infect this. If there's 2 in a row, it'll infect this and it'll infect this. So again, you get infection everywhere. Because that logic, once you've got 6 in here, you can apply it in the column and you're going to get 6s everywhere. So that's sort of, sorry if that was unstated, that's certainly where my brain was going with the sort of spread of the 6 disease. Now, the only way to avoid the spread of the 6 disease is to have 3 6s in a row and then 3 6s stacked into another row, like this. But that breaks, because although I seem to have achieved lack of infection of this box, the only way to preserve lack of infection is not to have not to have this sort of pattern here, is to have another 6, and now this box doesn't work. You can't fill it. Which is weird. I mean, it's weird. And I have a strong suspicion that there is a very straightforward way of proving that straight away. I'm just going to think about that for a second. Is there an obvious reason? Is there an obvious reason or a more obvious reason you can't put any high digits in a puzzle of this nature? I could very much believe that there is. I don't know. I will allow my subconscious to think about that. But okay, but now at least we earn a pencil mark, don't we? Because we now know that there is a 5. Oh, that's going to be interesting to think about. We know that this must be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 because we can't put any high digits in the puzzle. And then we know that there is a 5 in this puzzle. So how does the 5 work? Why doesn't the 5 infect everything? I mean, the 6 was close to not infecting, so I can believe it doesn't infect everything. If we put 5 here, 5 is... Well, yeah, okay. So if we look, this is hard. This is very hard to actually explain what I'm thinking here. But what I'm visualizing is within a 3x3 box. colours on 5 of the cells. So draw a pentomino of any nature into this 3x3 box. And that could look like that. It could look like that. I mean, it doesn't have to be a pentomino. It could be this. I mean, it could be a lot of different things. But I don't think there's a way of doing it. There isn't a way of doing it. In fact, I'm going to be stronger than that. There isn't a way of doing it without having a sort of sticky out piece, by which I mean this cell is the sticky out piece, in the sense that it's the only 5 that would appear in its row. Now obviously there are a variety of other things we could draw that would have, I mean, if we draw an X pentomino and put 5s in there, these two and these two would have that property. They're the only instance of 5 in their columns or rows. And I think I can't visualize a situation where there isn't that single instance. And why does that matter? Well, it seems to me to matter because now in this row where the sticky out 5 happens, I've got to infect 2 boxes, because this is one instance of 5. I could pack this one in with 3 instances of 5, but I'd still have to have a 5 in this box. So wherever the sticky out piece of the 5 happens, and there must be at least one sticky out piece, the 5 is going to infect 2 boxes. And from a vertical perspective here, there would have to be, well, no, actually it wouldn't have to infect both boxes, would it? Maybe that's why. Maybe this is why it doesn't. Well, actually, hang on. I might just be misthinking about this. What I'm assuming in my brain, and this might be a very bad assumption, is that 5 is that you can't have 5 in every box. Now that might be wrong, actually, because 5 is different from 6, in the sense that if 6 was in every box, and we've already seen this with 8s and 7s as well, if 6 is in every box, there can only be 4 different digits in the puzzle, 1, 2, 3 and 6. But if there is a 5 in every box, no, you can't put 2 in. Right, that's very cool. Right, so in fact we must. In fact, I didn't realise this at all, but I've backed into a deduction. Yeah, if 5 was in every box of this puzzle, we know 2 is in the puzzle somewhere, because we've got this V pentomino. One of those digits is a 2. How could the 5 and 2 be combined in the same box? And they would have to be, because one of the boxes is going to have a 2 in it, and that box would have to have a 5 in it if contagion has resulted in a 5 in every box. And the 5 and the 2 are going to leave 2 more cells in that box to fill, and there's no way to do it without having more 2s and therefore breaking the rules of the puzzle. So now we can say that 5 can't go in every box. There must be a way of stopping 5 having of stopping 5 from propagating everywhere. So how does that work? Because we know that 5 has a sticky out piece. So 5 is going to propagate to 2 more boxes every time you put it in the puzzle. No, 3 more boxes, because there is no arrangement of 5 here that causes, I mean, this is one arrangement. Obviously we can rotate, reflect or reorder these 5s, but it's very clear that there must be some 5s in this area of the grid, because we need 5 5s in both of these columns. And it's also clear that in this row there would have to be, these 2 boxes are definitely being infected. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay, but also we've got to be very careful. We've got to be very careful here. Because if we infect this box, for example, with 5s, and we have to infect either this box or this box in order to get our enough 5s into these these two columns, then that 5 is going to have a sticky out bit, isn't it? We don't know where it's going to go, but it's going to have a sticky out bit, and that's going to cause contagion. But we can't have the contagion spreading to every box, so we're going to have something like... We're going to have something like... I don't actually know how to do this. I'm going to just guess. Something like that. Now that works for the top 3 rows. But this is the question. Can we make it work? Let's try and ignore this box. This box is not what I'm thinking about here. Let's try and make it work. So we could have that maybe. And then we need to have... Is it that? Something like that. And then I need 2 in this row. I need 1 in this row. And I need 2 in this row. Now, let's just stare at this grid and see if this makes any sense to us at all. I think that might work. So what I'm claiming is that arrangement of 5s, and obviously it's not a unique arrangement at all, but what I'm interested in is, does that absolutely guarantee that those squares don't have to have 5s in them? Now the gaps here would have to either... so the gaps... So this purple region would have to be the region that the 2 goes in, because there's going to have to be a 2 in the puzzle, because there's a 2 in there. And then these gaps, there's going to be 4 gaps in each box, which either are going to be 4s, because you could put a 5 and a 4 into a box, or a 5 with a 1 and a 3 in a box. Yeah, okay. Okay, I mean that's a very, very long-winded way of me at least being comfortable that it's possible to fill this grid without it in a way that's not going to break it. Maverick's about to fly over. What I mean by that is that we don't get the contagion with 5 that I was fearing we would get. So I think what we're going to have is a grid that's got 6 boxes with 5 in them. Maybe that's... Do I have to factorize 81? Is that what we're going to have to do? Because if we get 6 boxes with 5 in, that's 30. Then I've got 51's worth of digits left that have to somehow be factored by 4, 3, 2 and 4, 3, 2 and 1. There's probably a zillion ways of doing that. Actually, they're quite useful numbers. Okay. All right. So let's now think about this more seriously. So these numbers are all different. Right. Okay. Hang on, I can do this. I can do this straight away. Let me just think. Hang on. Right. That square is a 3. That's what I'm going to claim. I think that's right. Okay, let me explain why I think that's true, which this might be bobbins, by the way, and if it's total drivel, I apologise, but I'll explain why I thought that, and we can disagree or agree with each other together. So, what I thought was that these 3 digits are definitely different. They're all in the same cage. These 3 digits are definitely different. They're in the same cage. Now, is it possible, in fact let's give this some colour, maybe this is going to be a sensible way to do this. Let's go orange, let's go grey, let's go, oh I haven't used purple, that's a mistake, let's use purple. Okay, that seems reasonable, doesn't it? So in this, these 3 digits are different. Is it possible that there is another colour in this row, another type of digit that's not the green digit, not the blue digit, not the orange digit? Well, no, that definitely cannot be true, because even let's introduce such a digit, let's make it yellow. Now the minimum these 4 different digits could be would be 1, 2, 3 and 4. That means I've got to put 4 4s in this row, 3 3s, 2 2s and a 1. And that's 10 different digits, or 10 cells that would be required. And there's only 9 cells in the row. So there's definitely not any more digits in this than the green digit, the blue digit and the orange digit, which means that these 3 digits add up to 9. But that logic must work in the column as well. Those 3 digits must add up to 9. But how many different ways are there of making 9 in 3 different Sudoku digits? Well, this is where it gets interesting, because ordinarily you would say there are 3 different ways, Simon. There's 1, 2, 6, 1, 3, 5 and 2, 3, 4. Well, ordinarily that would be totally right, but there's no 6s. There's no 6s in this puzzle at all. So there's actually only 2 ways of having 3 different digits in this puzzle, 1, 3, 5 and 2, 3, 4. And the common digit there is 3, and I'm going to claim that's a 3. That's... Now I'm absolutely terrified. I've spent 36 minutes. And could I just have written that in? Could I have written that in straight away? If I'd have... Oh no. Oh no. I have a horrible feeling I could. I have a horrible feeling. Oh no, 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 no. Oh, I might have to turn off the camera. I can't bear it. I can't bear it. All the comments are going to be how stupid I've been. Can't bear it. Oh. Oh no. Oh no. Well, let me just think. What I'm now thinking is I could have started here and just said, okay, well, those digits are all different. The minimum value of them is that. I can't, and exactly as I just did, okay, so I can't have any 4th digit in any row or column. So these 3 digits do have to factorize to 9. These have to factorize to 9. This is common. But but if 6 was possible, I wouldn't have known. I would have known this common digit would have had to be 1, 2 or 3. No, I'm okay. I don't think I have to turn it off. Because without eliminating 6, I wouldn't have known. I think this would have been a better way to start the puzzle. But I wouldn't have known that one of these this couldn't be something like this. 1, 6, 2, and that could be 3, 5. I mean, obviously, if I'd have pencil marked these as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, that would have been not something I would have done. But if I thought about it, yeah, that's okay, isn't it? And then I'd have had to deal. That would have looked like it would have worked. Yeah, okay. All right, that's good. That's good. So I think I haven't made a total ricket. Or let me put it a different way. I think the half hour of thinking at the start of the puzzle about whether or not you could put digits like 9, 8, 7 and 6 into the puzzle was actually not daft thinking. It yielded me a definite 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quintuple, and that yielded me the 3 as a legitimate digit, because we needed a common digit between the 1, 3, 5 and the 2, 3, 4 combinations. Whereas if 1, 2, 6 had been a possibility, I wouldn't have known what the common digit was. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Oh, bobbins. I wanted to delete 3. There we go. Right, so now I know those add up to 6 and those add up to 6. So, right, one of these is 1, 5, and one of these is 2, 4 in some order. Now, we can't do Sudoku. We've got to get our minds off Sudoku. But yeah, okay. Okay, right. So how do we fill this box then? This box has got a 3 in it. It's got that digit in it, whatever it, let's say that was a 4. That would say put 4 4s in this box, put 3 3s in this box. And then the other digit, and there can't be 2 other digits in here, can there? Because we can't have 4 different digits in a box of Sudoku digits where the cells add up, there are 9 cells. The other digit is the purple digit. Because we can't have 2 digits because these 2 cannot add up to 9. And we can't have 4 digits, so we must have the purple digit, which is sort of the complement of the grey digit and the orange 3. So, right, so what that means is fascinating, because now these 2 digits are 3. And that's because if we consider we've just worked out that all these digits they're either 3 or one of these colours, all of them. But we've got to be very careful. Look, in this row, we're not allowed anything that is not green, blue or orange, because that would be a 4th digit. So the only thing we can put into these are orange, and orange completes the 3. So these are orange, these are not orange. And these squares now are, because we've had 3 3s, these are all green and blue. We've got something going on with a 3-cell cage here. I can't do, I'm not allowed to do Sudoku. The only way I'm allowed to do Sudoku is if that's a 1. Then I'm allowed to make that not purple. But if that's anything else, I don't know what that is. This is bonkers. I mean, this is classic. This is classic IcyFruit. I mean, it's just so ludicrous that anyone would think of this and then think it could be turned into a puzzle that's basically got a few empty cages in it. What does this mean? So now, okay, here's one deduction I've just made. This box has 3s in it because it's got 2 digits here that sum to 6. So there must be digit or digits elsewhere in this box that sum to 3. But there can't be, we can't have 4 different digits in this box. So there's one more digit that must be a 3. So there's some 3s over in these cells. Now, but what does that mean? There's some 3s in these cells. And in this box, I see, now I feel like I've broken it. Because I've got to have some... Oh, I see. Yeah, okay. So this box over here is entirely made up of 3s and the green and the blue digits. And that's because those 3 digits together sum to 9. Now this box over here is different. It's a different animal. Because... this is very interesting, actually. This is very interesting. Because there has to be some spillage. There is some infection in box 6 on behalf of one of these digits. Because purple or grey is a big digit. It's a 4 or a 5. So imagine it was 4. Wherever you put 4 in this box, from a row perspective, it can't get 4 just from box 5. You can't put 4 4s in row 5 in 3 cells. So it will spill over into this box. And if it was 5, it would spill over even more. And that means that some cells in box 6 are purple and or grey. But also some cells are green and or blue. So there are no 3s in this box. In box 6 is what I think that means. Because we know, because if there was a 3 in that box, there would have to be 4 digits, is how I'm seeing that, which I realise is a little bit inarticulate. But even if these are one, I think these are 1 digit. That's where I'm coming to here. I suspect this is a 5-4 box, but I haven't quite got. That's just a hunch rather than logic. The way I'm feeling, I know that there's some digit in here which is one of these two. I know there's some digit in here which is one of these two. But there could be 2 of those two, but there's at least 1. So we're adding different flavours of 6 together in this box. So say we added 4 and... we could have 4 and 5 actually, but let's say we had 4, which would have a complement of 2, with 1. If we had 4 and 1 in this box together, then obviously if we were to put 3 in as well, then we haven't got 9 and we need some other digit. But that would be 4 different digits in the box. If this was 5, 1 and we had 5 in here and we put 2 in, 5 and 2 we know can't be filled. So yeah, and if you put 1 and 2 in, then you can only have 1 more digit, remember, because we can't have 4 different digits in the box. The other digit would be 6, and we're not allowed to put 6 in this puzzle for reasons that I spent a long time proving at the start. So I think the only way that this box works is if it's 4 and 5, because basically what we're saying, yeah, okay, let's try and articulate that cleanly. That's where the logic has taken me, but let me try and articulate that cleanly. What I'm saying is, there is 1 digit, at least, in this box from the green-blue pair. There is 1 digit in this box, at least, from this pair. And if we think about the various ways we can combine those 2 digits, we can't have 2 low digits, because there's only 1 more digit left. It would have to be a 6. 6 is not a valid digit in this puzzle. If we combine the 2 high digits, that would work, because we'd have 4s and 5s in here. If we do any combination of low-high, which would be either... they have to not add up to 6, don't they? So it's either going to be 1 and 4, or 2 and 5. 2 and 5 we can instantly dismiss, because there's 2 digits left over that can't be 2, or 2 cells left over. And 1 and 4 we can dismiss, because if we put 1 and 4 in, we've taken 5 cells, we've got 4 cells left to fill, but we can't use 4 because we've already used it. We can't use 1 because we've already used it. And there's no other way to fill the 4 cells. We can't use 1, 3, and we can't use a single 4. So 1 and 4 don't work. So this is full of 4s and 5s. This is full of 4s and 5s. And something is... But where does the contagion happen then? How are we ever going to know? Oh, I see. Oh, okay, there might have been another way to get this, but I've just seen something really cool. Right, okay, so that digit is... it is the high flavour of this, isn't it? Because we know that this is the green or blue high digit. So and this has to be different to that because it's in a cage with it, but it is also a high digit. So this is it's the high one of these two. And that means this one is the low one of these two. So that is a 1 or a 2. And that means... Oh, goodness me. I mean, that's got to do something to this row, surely. Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Got it. Right. So this row now has two digits in it that add up to 6. These 2 digits. Because these have to be different and they have to add up to 6. So that's going to take 6 cells of this row. And we know there can't be 4 digits, 2 different digits in this row. So there's one more digit to come to take us up to 9. And that digit must be 3. And that digit must go there. Because I can't put any more 3s here. So there are 3 3s here. Oh, this is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. There's 3 3s here. There are no more 3s. These digits are all 1, 2, 4 and 5. They add up to 6 in some split. What does the... Okay, so right. So now all of these digits are the same. These are all of the... because I know these 6 digits have to be made up of this flavour of colour. These are all the same. These are all the same. And then these are split depending on... There, these are always split. But how does that work in this row then? Is this broke? Oh, this feels... No. Oh, hang on. Right, so I think... Yeah, if we look at these 3 digits, they are not just one colour, are they? Because these were one colour and these were one colour. And we've got to have 4 purple greys and 4... And sorry, or we've got to have 4 or 5 purple greys and 4 or 5 green blues. So these are a mixture of these 2 colours. Because we haven't finished either colour from a box 6 perspective. So these are a mixture, which means that this row is full of 4s and 5s. Because we've got one of each here, which means these are 4s or 5s. So they're the high digit of these 2. This is the low digit, but that... Oh, seriously. It's very nearly. And so we don't know. We know that these are high, but we don't know what colour they are. Okay. But how do... Hang on. All 3 of these columns now... We don't know what the order of these is, but we know these are 4, 5 pairs. So that's what you need to fill all of these columns. They're all 4, 5 pairs. Right, and now this row, these 2 digits have to be different because they're in a cage. So this row is full of 4s and 5s. Look at this. Right. Okay, so now I can do something in this column, I'm going to claim. Because this column has 3 3s in it, and it's got this digit. But it's definitely got a high green or blue digit in it. So this column must be made up of only green and blue and 3. So this is green, blue. This is green or blue. I don't really know how to pencil mark this, because this could still be a 3. I mean, this is all green, blue and 3. I mean, it's such a ludicrous pencil mark, but I think that's what I have to do. That's not 3 because it's in a cage with a 3. So that is a 1, 2, 4 or 5. Now, what on earth does that mean? I feel like that's telling me something about that row. Hang on. I want that to be a 4-5 row now. Is that nonsense, or is that where logic should take us? Because I've got different flavours of digits here, in the sense that these can never add up to 6, because this is from the blue-green and this is from the purple-grey. So these two digits are either both high, in which case that this row is full of 4s and 5s, both low, which doesn't work, because that's going to put 1s and 2s in here. We're going to need 6 to finish the row, and we've got 4s and 5s here, and we know 6 isn't a valid digit. So that does not work. Or one high, one low. But we've already looked at this. If this is 5, that would imply this is 2, and that can't work. And if this is 4, this would be 1, and that can't work. So this is a 4-5 row, is what I'm going to claim. And that makes sense with what we've got over here, doesn't it? So this is all 4s and 5s, but goodness only knows how these all split up between their friends. Oh, this is going to be tricky as, isn't it? We're going to have to find ways of somehow... hang on. That's a low digit. Oh, that's done it. I've done it. I've done it. I've done it. Look, this is a low digit because it's not. This is what this is doing. Right. This is just. It is bonkers. It is bonkers. But look, these are a 4-5. They're different. But they're both high. So this is now low. But the moment this is low, I've now got 2 low digits in this box. So these can't both be 1, or there'll be 2 1s in the box, and there should only be 1 1 in the box. So they have to be 2. That has to be 4. Therefore, all of these are 4 in order to make the maths work. And purple is 4. And it would just, all of a sudden, we've had an absolute epiphany there. So purple is 4. Wherever it occurs, purple is 4. And that means that the high green-blue digit is 5. But we don't know, or at least I don't know yet, how we do that. But well, okay. These are all the same. These are all purple 4 now. Because if these were 5s, these columns would have too many digits in them. So they're 4s, they're purple. That's 5 because it's a high one of the green-blue set. So all of these are 5. This is one of each, so that's 5 because one of these is a 1. I might as well actually just make sure we've got that very firmly battened down. That's the 5 by exactly the same logic. So this is a 1 or a 3. Come on. I think we're really close to finishing the puzzle now. Which might be the one good thing about this weird form of Sudoku. Not Sudoku, I mean, whatever we're going to describe this as being. Every one of these columns has a 3 in it. And every one of them has a green-blue digit in. Yeah, okay, so this is all. These squares are all green. They're from the green-blue 3 collection that add up to 9, which is, I suppose, is now 135, isn't it? I think that's right. For example, if we were to make one of these a 4 now, you can see that there's definitely a 3 in the column with that 4. And that would imply that the other digit that we should have in here is a 2. But it can't have a 2 in the column because it's definitely got 1s and 5s in the column as well. So these have to both be 5. And these have to be 5 by exactly the same logic. One of those is a 5. Oh, it's so nearly done. And everything in these squares is, these are all from green, blue and orange. Those are from green and blue. These aren't able to be orange. And okay, now can we repeat that trick on columns 4, 5 and 6? I think we can, because we know that there are 3 3s in each of these columns, and we know that every single one of these columns has purple 4 in it. So that these must all be 2, 3, 4 combinations, mustn't they? In fact, we know. So those are all 4s, is what we know. Ah, that's beautiful. There we go. There we go. If these are all 4s, which I think they are from the logic, this has a 4 in it because this is in a cage. So that's got to be a 5, which is the green-blue digit. Oh, maybe that doesn't do anything actually. But we can... no, hang on. Look, I've got 4 4s in column 5 now. So the rest of this column is full of 2s and 3s. I've got 2s, 3s and 4s to place in column 4. And 2s, 3s and 4s to place in column 6. Oh no. So what does that mean? Well, that can't be a 4. Because if that's a 4, I have to put 5 in here, and this row should only be filled with 4s and 5s, and it's definitely got 2s and 3s in it. So that's not a 4. So that is a 2 or a 3. So this row definitely could it be a 5, 3, 1 row? Do we know whether there's definitely 3s in any of those? Or maybe I've got to look down here. Not sure. I might have to keep a very careful count of the exact number of 5s and 3s I've got in the grid. And I keep wanting, and my brain keeps trying to make me do Sudoku, which is an outrageous... I mean, isn't it outrageous that IcyFruit... Normally, I rail against these constructors who make me do Sudoku in their Sudoku puzzles, and now my brain is trying to do Sudoku in a puzzle that's not a Sudoku puzzle. It's infuriating. I can't win. Okay. My spider sense is telling me there's something going on in this row. I mean, if these were all 4s, no, that might be okay. Oh, I don't know. I'm struggling. I'm not seeing this now. I thought I was doing all right for a second or two, and now I feel like my brain's deserted me. I know that I can't have too many 2s, that's for sure. What about... So what are the digits we've got to put up here? These are 1s, 3s and 5s, aren't they? Let's actually maybe that will crystallize my thinking. These are 1s, 3s and 5s. Now, well, feels difficult but not impossible to have 4s in. It's something to do with this conundrum here, isn't it? I think. Oh, or is it? These have got 1s and 3s and 5s. So there have to be 5s up here. That's definitely true. But there's 4 in this box. So there's 2s somewhere up here. And the 2s can't go in the same rows as the 5s, because we know that leads to a big problem. So somewhere up here there has to be, I think, a 1, 3, 5 row, which is very difficult to do, but you could do it if you... See, one of these is a 4 and 2 of these are a 5. Yeah, so what we're going to have is we're going to have a stripe. One of these is going to be a stripe that's 3 4s. One of these is going to have a stripe that's 3 5s. And then, so if, say, that was 3 5s, then you could have 3 3s here, a 1 and 2 5s there. And that would work, I think. And if this was 3 4s, then you could have, then you'd need another 4. You'd have to have that one as a 4. And then you'd need 2s, which would have to be here, and these would be the 3 3s. So that's weird, because that seems to work both ways round. So it must be something else that's breaking the pattern up for me. Now, what is that thing? And is it... Okay, let's try and think about it. Yeah, okay. So this is one of each. Yeah, so I think these are going to be 3. These are going to be 3 the same, and these are going to be 3 the same as well. There still has to be a 1 in one of these, and we know the 1 is going to be in a row with just 3s and 5s. I can't quite see it. I'm being very slow. I'm so sorry if you've already understood all of this. I could well believe it. Can't quite work out what it is that disambiguates everything. What it... Is it this somehow? I mean, if these were both 2 3, is that some sort of problem? I don't immediately see why. Oh, yeah, I do. I do, actually. I do now suddenly see that. Why didn't I think of that before? Right. Oh, this is mighty. Yeah, this is mighty. Right, this is where we have to look. It's this combination. So, the question is, can this be a 2 and a 3? Now, if it's a 2 and a 3... the digit that matches with those, this 2 3 pair, needs to be a 4, doesn't it? So this row would be only filled with 2s, 3s and 4s. But this is going to be one of each, so there's going to be a 2 and a 3 here. And the only digit from 3 and 4 that's, well, 2, 3 and 4 that's available in those 3 digits is 3. And that's going to put 4 3s in this row, which is impossible. So that has to be a 4. And the reason I think that's huge is watch what that's going to do. Because now, whoopsie, we've got our 4 4s in this box. Oh, hang on, I didn't want to put a 4. I don't want to put a 5th 4. I was trying to take the 4 out of that. So we've got 4 4s here. We've now got 4 4s in this column. This is doing massive stuff, actually. It's doing all sorts. These can now no longer include 5 or 1 because we can't partner with a 4 with that. So these are now 3 3s. So that fixes these in. These now don't have any 3s, so that's a 1 at the bottom of the grid. This is going to be 2 5s to finish off this box. That's definitely not orange. None of these are orange. This now can't be, we can't repeat. Ah, look at that. That completes this little domino thing. has done the shading, because now we've learned that 5 is the high digit. So 5, wherever it appears, is green. Let's just do all those, because that's going to be exciting. Blue, wherever it appears, is 1. So there can't be any more 1s in all of these squares. So none of these are blue. We still don't actually, we can't quite finish that top bit off. But this row has to just be 5s, 1s and 3s. So all of those turn into 3s. That becomes double 2. 2s are grey. 3s are orange. Don't do Sudoku because it won't help you. These digits have to all be 4s now. So they're all purple. This is one of each. So these are all 5s. So they're all green. But I think the interesting thing is up in this column where I've now got 4 4s in the column. So we can take 4s out of here. And now in this row, it's impossible to put 4 4s in it. So these can't be 4s and must be 5s. And if they're 5s, that's 4 now. That does the 4 for this bottom row, look, or row 3. So that's purple. These are all green. These are all purple 4s. Now, what's that doing? We can't accompany a 5 with a 2, so that's got to accompany a 3. The only place for a 4th 4 in this box is here. That does the top row's 4s. And these squares now, well, these squares have to be 3s, or 2. Well, these have to be 3s because we have to partner. We can't partner this with 5s. We can't put 5 5s in the row. We can't partner them with 1s. We couldn't finish the row. So they're all 3s. Oh! That's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. That's fair. That is a fair deduction. These are 5s now because they can't be 3s and they can't be 1s. So the 1 is the blue. That 3 in the corner, well, all of these are orange. These are definitely green. This is now double 2 with grey. This is now, these are all 3s and all orange. And now we just have to get the count right on column 7 where we've got everything we need by way of green. So that's got to be a 4. That finishes box 6's quota. And these are therefore green 5s. And that shows us that this is a 4 to get enough 4s in this column. And that is a 5 using the cage logic. And that, I think, is the solution to this puzzle, which is absolutely bonkers. IcyFruit, you have an incredible brain. You have an incredible brain. I really hope you never turn it to evil. Because I think that you would be the Lex Luthor of the Sudoku world. I mean, that is close to evil, what you've concocted there. That is very close to evil. It is balmy and it's beautiful. So literally, you can solve the whole thing with a tiny rule set and about 6 cages, which are tiny. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Do you not feel like we are in the presence of a truly great mind? That is, what a fantastic puzzle. I'm sorry I couldn't see the ending there. I found that end very hard to understand. But it's just sensational. It's sensational. Loved it. Let me know in the comments how you got on with it. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. We'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.